Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the very special Easter celebration service at the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Carol Cross. My pronouns are she and her, and I am one of the practitioners here at TCSL. And so, this is the holiest day in the Christian religion. And this whole week is called Holy Week. And so it's a very special week for traditional Christian celebrations. And it's been a beautiful week here in North Carolina. My garden is so lush, and the flowers are blooming, and the trees are blossoming, and the birds are singing, and there are baby animals. How glorious is that? But also this week, in my human world, I've had some things that I have not experienced as joyous. We had children and adults killed by Russian bombs on Palm Sunday. We had political things that I at least disagree with going on. We had ugly things said in the press about people. And I know that this weekend there will be some missing seats at the Passover and Easter dinners as another angry or disturbed young man decided to take out a gun and shoot some people. And so it's been a juxtaposition for me this week of the joy and what I know on my spiritual level. But this is our paradox, is that we are living in these material bodies, in this material world, and we need to be able to bring those together. So I wanted to do something different, and this is something that I did, and it really helped me on my journey of Holy Week. So I hope it will work for everybody else too. So if you're at home, you need to get a piece of paper and a pen, and it can just be a little one. We're just going to write a few things down. And at the very top of that, I'd like you to write the word Easter. And then under Easter, write the numbers 1 through 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in the Bible, 7 represents a number of completion. And so Holy Week itself is a whole activity. And what we're going to do this is kind of a right brain exercise that we're going to take into meditation. And I love right brain exercises because it bypasses the conscious mind and gets into that subconscious mind, which is our spiritual mind, our one mind. But what this is going to do, it's going to be a word association exercise. So what you have to do is just write down the first thing that pops into your head. Even if it seems to make no sense, that's why we have meditation. You can take it in the sense, but just trust. Even if it seems crazy, just trust that the word that you associate with is a message from your divine self. So we start with the word Easter, and I want you by number 1 to write the word that pops in your head when I say Easter. Then look at that word and think of the very next word that pops in your head when you look at that word number 1 and write that down as word number 2. Then look at word number 2 and what pops into your mind now. Write that down as word number 3. Then look at word number 3. What pops into your mind, write that down as word number 4. Word number 4, what does that bring to mind? Write that down as word number 6. No, number 5, sorry. All right, look at word number 5. What pops into your head? Write that down as word number 6. Then I want you to look at word number 6 and see what pops into your mind as the word that takes you from word number 6 back to Easter. What word connects your word number 6 to the thought of Easter? And put that down as number 7. So take a moment to look at those words, and then take these series of words into meditation and see if you get some kind of cohesive message, or if you just get a message at all from your subconscious about why these are the words that are coming up for you. So Heather will play us some beautiful background music as we contemplate our word associations. back into your bodies. So I hope that you got some good messages from your list of words. I did this exercise myself at home when I could be more just right brain, because here I've got to be thinking about time and logistics and things like that. But I'll give you a brief thing of my words and the message they gave me. So for Easter, my number one word was bunny, because I did not grow up in a religious family. And we were just talking about this with some people at lunch. You know, for those of us who did not grow up as religious Christians, it was all about that chocolate bunny. I mean, that was Easter. And so it's funny that child, of course, Easter is so much bigger to me now, but that childhood association with bunny is what came up for me. Then from bunny, I went to abundance. And that's because I did a Sunday school lesson plan where bunnies represented abundance. And I was using that to teach children. And from abundance, I went to money. And I thought about that for a while. I'm like, oh, yeah, it was tax week this week, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. Oh, and my investments are down. And last month, the general price of things went up 2.4%, which is the highest increase since COVID. So yes, it might make sense that my material mind might be thinking about money. But from that money, I went to the money changers in the temple that is part of the story of Holy Week. And from the money changers, I went to righteous anger. So that was very empowering for me to say, okay, when Jesus saw this, inappropriate material world activity going in on a spiritual place, his response was righteous anger. So it kind of gives me permission to feel some of the righteous anger that I'm feeling right now today with some of the stuff that's going on. Because, okay, there is a place for saying, no, this cannot be. From righteous anger, I went to sacred, because I felt that's why Jesus was so upset, because this was supposed to be a sacred place. And this profane activity was going on in the sacred place. And then I'm like, okay, well, sacred, Easter, that's pretty that's pretty easy to get from sacred to Easter. But I thought, what really is sacred to me? And to me, what is truly the most sacred thing is love. And that brought to mind what I think is the most powerful passage in the entire Bible. Because I'm not one who, even now, believes about Jesus dying on the cross for our sins. That's not my interpretation of things. But I can never get over his final words of, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." So that's the level of love that Jesus represents to me, that Easter represents to me. And so that is, I think, the message that my subconscious was trying to give me, is that divine love that I know lives within me, and that I can love people, and not just, you all who agree with me about spiritual things, presumably because you're doing this meditation, but that I can love the people who disagree with me, who may, I feel, be hurting me or my family or my friends or my things. I need to forgive them, for they know not what they do. So that was my message. If you did not get necessarily such a coherent message or anything, don't worry, keep it with you. It can pop up later on. I do a lot of journaling about my dreams. So this is a good thing to sort of intentionally take into your sleep practice tonight, and see if you still have some questions, if your subconscious can provide that through your dreams. But anyway, this was my attempt for us to be complete with Holy Week so that we could be totally open to the message of Easter, which Reverend Dusty is going to assist us with in a couple of minutes. So you have a little bit of a break. Make sure you're back here by 10:15 for the start of our very special Easter celebration. And thank you for being with us.
Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings, and with every step you take. Bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Oh, the places you will go and the people you will know. Don't worry when, or where, or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out there having fun. So close your eyes, take a breath, and smile. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do 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 amazing things.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Easter. Welcome to our Easter celebration at the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. We are so very glad that you have chosen to join us here at 4 Points by Sheridan, or you have invited us into your homes through the power of live streaming. Whatever that looks like for you today, we are very glad to have you join us. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dusty Rippelmeyer, and I have the privilege and the honor of being this community's spiritual director. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is a spiritual community that honors all paths and promotes global transformation through personal transformation. We are a spiritual community that can support you as you strive for a personal relationship with the divine, a spiritual community where you are respected and accepted just for being who you are, a space and place for inspiration, insight, and revelation, as well as loving support as you grow into your highest and best self. You are welcome here no matter where you are on your spiritual path. We are part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living, which is a global community of over 450 spiritual centers, teaching chapters, and special focus ministries in 30 countries worldwide. Centers for Spiritual Living is a positive and practical philosophy, faith, and way of life whose global vision is a world that works for all. And I'm very happy that that's our vision. I think it's very good. Thank you to Carol for her meditation today that expanded the container that our service will unfold within. So thank you very much. And now I would like to invite up Sean Shockey to the podium for our announcements.
Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Last Sunday, one thing that Reverend Andy said was that, people greet you and you say, I'm surviving. And then Reverend Andy reminded us it's okay to survive, but here we decided that we're going to thrive. So if I'm thriving, I need for you to be thriving with me. We've got to go above and beyond. One thing I did one time, I remember saying that my bank account does not have to be good. It's what I told the universe. I said my bank account does not have to be good, but whenever I want something, the money needs to be there. Yes. And that's the way it is. But after hearing the talk last Sunday, I need for my bank account to be big. I need to go up a step. If I'm going up a step, I want you right there beside me. When I move up, you need to move up. We're in this together, everybody, all right? Okay, let's do the announcements. Our Wednesday evening services for 2025 are called the Wednesday Experience, a look at life through meditation, musings, metaphysics, and magic. Each week, the evening will be facilitated by a host of ministers, practitioners, and others who will share an insightful, revealing, and perhaps provocative reading or story, and then facilitate a meditation. Following the meditation, we will have an opportunity to share. The service will be held on Zoom from 7 until 8:15. This is a save for a community town hall meeting. So it's basically a save the date. On Sunday, May 4th. This will be a very important community conversation, and we would love for everyone to be involved. We would also love for everyone to be in the room. If you are unable to attend in person, however, we will also be facilitating it on Zoom. We will use the same Zoom link that we use for our Wednesday night service. The meeting will be an opportunity to talk about our center, who we are becoming, and how best to do that moving forward. Our normally scheduled lunch bunch will be held on the first Sunday of June, when we will celebrate both May and June birthdays for the community town hall. We encourage you to bring a sack lunch or grab some takeout from a nearby restaurant. The meeting will be facilitated from 12 until 1:30. Everyone is invited. This is also a save the date announcement for an upcoming prosperity class to be taught of Edwin Gaines. Edwin Gaines, one of the foremost prosperity teachers, past, present, and future, is going to be facilitating a 4-lesson prosperity class free to anyone who would like to participate. We thought it might be really powerful for us to participate in these sessions together as a community. Because we will be together, we will also be able to spend a few moments after the class to answer questions, talk about practical ideas, and create collective mental equivalents for our community. Everyone is invited. There will be in person, except for Edwin Gaines, who will be on Zoom. The classes will be hosted by Reverend Dusty. They will start following the completion of our service. They will all be held on the fourth Sunday of April, May, June, and July. The invitation is to bring something to eat as we are watching the class. And buckle up as we receive some great insight from an amazing prosperity teacher. If you are interested, please RSVP to Heather at info@trianglecsl.org. Let's welcome Reverend Dusty back to the podium this morning.
Thank you very much, Sean. Ever since I first began to walk this path, I have loved to listen to people really talk about the stories in the Bible from a metaphysical perspective. What I realize is that the stories are the stories of every man and every woman in his or her journey through life. The stories of every man and every woman's mental and physical and emotional and spiritual life, and the stories about all of the obstacles that we may encounter along the way. We look at the stories metaphysically to really understand them and to actually experience their relevance in our own lives. So the events around Holy Week, including Palm Sunday, Good Friday, and Easter Sunday, are really the perfect moment to inform us about who we are becoming, and what we are encouraged to do in our own lives. So because this is a special holiday service, we're doing things a little differently today. As Sean always said, woo, that happened really quickly. The flow is so that the flow is a little bit more sacred than usual. And as we have done periodically in the past, we're going to facilitate our conscious giving up front. So the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. This is the time every week when we offer financial support to assist this community to be a beacon of light and love for ourselves and for others. I invite you to turn within as I speak a word of blessing on this offering, knowing that the process itself is an opportunity to stand in an expanded view of all of the ways that we are abundant, and to focus our attention on all of this abundance by practicing sharing and giving. That by recognizing our good and being willing to give some of it away, we enter into the law of circulation and participate in the powerful flow of the universe. I know that this gift, however big or small, supports this community as we continue to be a space of warmth and light and wisdom and transformation and of love. I know that as each of us enters into this eternal flow of giving and receiving, that the gift we give comes back to us. The blessing and the blessed are one. Thank you all so very much for your gift, and I thank God for the gift of you. And so it is. And if the ushers can start the basket.
To center ourselves now from the secular part of our thing into our spiritual focus by listening to these beautiful crystal bowls. Just allow the sounds to take you wherever. Let go of the outer world and settle into your inner world. So, maintaining that inner peace, I invite you to open up your eyes, come back into your bodies, and we're going to do our blessing of all faiths. So I'd like to invite Larry and Summer up to assist me with that. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths, as represented by this ceremony. Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principles of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. And so it is. Thank you all so much. All right, so now I would ask you to close your eyes once again as I say a word of blessing on today's marvelous event. So, in the Triangle Center of Spiritual Living, well, all the centers of spiritual living, we have a fundamental principle of as within, so without. And so, as I came here today and I saw the beauty of this day, I saw the abundance of nature, I saw the sun guiding me to my destination. and I felt holy and complete. So I know that that did not come from those images, that it comes from inside. And that I am today filled with that Christ consciousness of love and forgiveness. And that makes today a glorious day. And I know that we are connected, that we are all one, that my experience of the Christ consciousness is representative of everybody's ability to get in touch with that, especially on this special day. And so I assert for all of us that this is where we are coming from. We are coming from our inner Christ selves, our inner divine selves today. And in standing in that place, we can only create miracles. So I say a word of blessing on Heather as she does the AV. I say a word of blessing on all of the volunteers who you don't get to see on camera, but we couldn't do it without them. A word of blessing on Sean for always lifting us up through what can be a routine task. A word of blessing on Cindy Johnson as she cracks open our Easter egg hearts to experience the joy of this day. And I say a word of blessing on Reverend Dustin as she becomes that guide like the sunset, like the sunlight, that leads us to greater understanding, greater prosperity, greater everything. Just greater. Because that is who and what we came here to be. And so I also say a word of blessing and gratitude for everybody participating in this service, here in the room, on Zoom right now, not Zoom, but whatever, through the internet, whether it's now or it's in the future. Because as Sean said, I'm not here for my uplifting. I am here for all of our uplifting. That we all rise together. And that makes it a beautiful, beautiful day. So I say that things will all unfold perfectly. We will hear what we need to hear. What needs to be said will be said. And it will be indeed a holy day. So I ask you to assert this with me through our words, and so it is. Okay. So we are going to now hear the first offering from our oh so talented and oh so shining Cindy Johnson. In the bulb there is a flower, in the seed an apple tree, in cocoons a hidden promise, butterflies will soon be free. In the cold and snow of winter there's a spring that waits to be unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. There's a song in every silence, seeking word and melody. There's a dawn in every darkness, bringing hope to you and me. From the past will come the future, what it holds, a mystery, unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. In our end is our beginning, in our time, infinity. In our doubt, there is believing. In our life, eternity. In our death, a resurrection. And at last, a victory. Unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see.
Welcome to Easter at the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living for those of you who may have just arrived or turned on television sets at home. My message today is entitled Rising Higher, Leaning into the Resurrection. And I believe that in order for us to be able to talk about the resurrections of our lives, that we need to first talk about the crucifixions. So what Jesus is teaching us throughout this Easter weekend is that by dying to the old, we can be born again in the new. By letting go of what binds us, no matter how comfortable we are with it, whether it is an addiction or an illness or a debt or a miserable relationship or a dead-end job or our proclivity for procrastination or perhaps our belief in lack and limitation or that we are too young or we're too old or any of the other thousands of excuses that we may have for staying with the status quo and not allowing ourselves to really live a fulfilled life, we can and must let go. We can and must let go of the old and make way for the new. Once we become willing to really release the past, to let go of our stories and step out of victimhood, we are already on the path towards the resurrection experience. Giving up the old is never easy, but as I just said, it can be done. It really can be done. It requires our willingness. It requires a leap of faith that really affirms that we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that where we are going or who we are becoming is much bigger, much greater, much grander than where we are right now or who we have always been. The bottom line is that the crucifixions of our lives are the gateway to a higher consciousness. Each crucifixion is calling us to be more fully who we really are and who we've come here to be. In his book, The 7 Living Words, Reverend Mark Anthony Lord says, every crucifixion, no matter how difficult or seemingly life-shattering, is simply a desire to follow your dreams at all costs. Our crucifixion is calling us to surrender so that we can remember the truth that within us is the greatest power of all. The greatest power of all. For many of us, this idea of surrender leaves really a bad taste in our mouth, right? It speaks of weakness and cowardice, of giving up or of giving away our power or of really letting go of the control of a circumstance or a situation or even of our lives. We may have great resistance to doing it. And if you feel that way, you're not alone. I promise you. The truth is that while it can mean to give up or to give in or to give away, it can also mean to give way, to give way, to give way to something that is greater. For me, this isn't about weakness or about cowardness at all, but about the faith, our faith in things unseen, our faith and the strength to brave the unknown. Not always something that we like to do, but it really sets us up. It allows us to really move forward in our lives. So for me, this is not about giving up, but really about an allowing. It is not about giving in, but rather a welcoming of something bigger, grander, better. Kristen Jongen, in her book Growing Wings, says you can't fake authentic surrender, for it is the moment you unclench your hands, accept what is, and finally let go. That fertile space is provided for divine intervention and unimaginable possibilities. That moment when you unclench your hands. How can we accept anything from the universe when we're like this? We can't. By giving way to a power and presence greater than we are allowing the flow of life to move through and as us. Yeah, come on. Bring it on. It can simply mean to stop fighting, to stop resisting that flow. It can simply mean letting go of that which does not serve us. It's not serving us anyway. Well, let it go. Let it go. Sounds like a song. Today, as we begin our Easter Sunday conversation, we are reminded that the time to unclench our fist, that the time to let it go, the time to surrender is right now. Right now. I've been burdened by carrying the past. It's time to let it fall away. Live my life. What if I could say goodbye to the lies of yesterday? What if I decide to let it go? What if now I start to be the one I'm meant to be? What if now I begin to see my light? What if today is the day I realize the beauty of my song? What if now I finally let my spirit sing? Everything would find its perfect place somehow. What if now the voices in my memory are heartless and unkind? I would never say to anyone the things I say in my own mind. It's time to love
of myself, for all I am and all I'm not. I've got to find the strength to free my soul. What if now I start to be the one I'm meant to be? What if now I begin to see my light? What if today is a day I realize the beauty of my song? What if now I finally let my spirit see? Everything would find its perfect place somehow. What if now?
Thank you, Cindy. The second conversation that we're having today involves this idea that just when we thought that the hardest part of all of this was going to be the letting go, surrendering to all the crucifixions of our lives, we enter into this time period in which the old ways are not working, and we haven't yet stepped into the new ways. Most of us want to be able to really move through that time between the crucifixions and the resurrections very quickly, through the space of something ending in our lives so that we can get to the beginning of that new. Yet it's important for us to really be able to experience that time in between, to really be able to experience being in the unknown, being in the void. The time between the death and the resurrection is where our consciousness readies itself for the next expression. And it needs the time. Shortchanging the process can really lead to repeating old patterns and mistakes. Think about a caterpillar. If we were to somehow cut open the chrysalis too early, all we would find would be this soupy, gooey mess of decomposed caterpillar. The soupy, gooey, decomposed mess of caterpillar that it has to become before it completely reorganizes itself into a brand new entity. It would not have had the time to do it if we cut open that chrysalis too early. But even if if the butterfly were completely formed, if we still cut open that chrysalis at that time too early, then the butterfly may not be able to fly, because it needs that time. It needs the struggle between the crucifixion and the resurrection for its wings to become strong enough to allow the butterfly to fly. The same is true of a tulip bulb, or of a fertilized chicken egg, or a pearl, or a human embryo. Welcome to the middle phase of transformation, to the middle phase of transition. During this time, forward movement seems to stop. And we seem to be hanging suspended between what was and what's becoming. It's a time, were you going to do some like death march? I thought I heard the first notes of that. It's a time when old clarities, right? The ways that we used to do things are starting to break down. And yet we still aren't where we think we're going. We're just in flux. And things are up in the air. Nothing is a given anymore. And anything could happen. And it's unknown, and we're unsure, and it's scary. No one knows the answers. One person says one thing, and somebody else says something else. Completely the opposite. Marilyn Ferguson, an American futurist, says it's not so much that we are afraid of change or so in love with the old ways, but it's that place in between that we fear. It's like being between two trapezes. It's Linus when his blanket is in the dryer. There's nothing to hold on to. If this phase lasted only a short period of time, no problem. No problem. We could just wait for the moment to pass. But when the change is deep and far-reaching, this time between the old and the new can last a long time. In the Bible, it speaks often about 40 days and 40 nights. And 40 days and 40 nights does not mean really a literal time frame, but means however long it takes. The in-between time is not the wasted time of meaningless waiting and confusion that it sometimes seems to be. It's a time for reorganizing and for redefining, and it must take place. Like the caterpillar and the butterfly, that time must take place. So we all need to really recognize and understand that it's natural. It's natural to feel some feelings of frightened, being afraid, or confused as these old patterns disappear from our minds and begin to form into new patterns in our experience. During this journey through the wilderness, a significant shift takes place within us. And it takes that time. That shift comes from an inner patterning, or really a sorting process in which the old and no longer appropriate ways are being discarded, and newly appropriate ways are being brought in and developed. In times of increased stress, or in times of increased pressure, whether it's from within or from without, we can either enter into growth and expansion and power, or we can regress into old patterns. Fall back into the old ways of being, or fall asleep. And this can lead us to show up as a lesser version of ourselves, both individually and collectively. Now, individually, we may all be in different places in this process. Some people might be at the beginning of a transition, feeling this like vague feeling of restlessness, or like there's something that's kind of nagging you or nudging you towards something new in your life. But it's brand new. You're just beginning to feel it. While other people might be in a full-blown period of change, thinking that their life is now over as they knew it, and yet not knowing where they're heading. Others might actually be coming out of the woods, coming out of this difficult time that they've been in, this time of change. A time when they might be able to now take a breath and actually begin to take a look at and make sense of the journey that they've been on. The bottom line is that everything changes. Nothing, absolutely nothing stays the same. We will all go through what we might perceive as a dark night of the soul, a crucifixion or a loss of something that we held to be true about ourselves or about our lives. Collectively, I believe we are all going through a dark night of the soul together. So much is changing in the world around us. Everything feels unbelievable. Everything feels overwhelming. No matter who we are, it can feel that way to each and every single one of us. We're facing something that none of us have ever faced before. And it's causing even the most conscious of us to really fall into periods of confusion or doubt or worry or fear. We're being bombarded with all kinds of information, and the ground that we are standing upon feels like sand. We are all in this moment in the midst of something that is dying. And what is being born or reborn is yet to happen. And we have no idea what that is going to ultimately look like. So the invitation is to really fully feel our feelings, and yet also to lean into our faith. To lean into our faith. We are in this moment living in the void, feeling uncomfortable and not knowing what is coming next. So the invitation is to remember that during these in-between times that a renewing of our collective consciousness is happening beneath the surface. To just trust in that, to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that is actually what is happening, and that everyone is participating in it in some way, shape, or form. And that what we have to do is have faith, and to know that it takes time, 40 days and 40 nights. André Gide, a French novelist, says, "One doesn't discover new lands without consenting to lose sight of the shore for a very long time." Let me say that again. One doesn't discover new lands, right, or new ways of being without consenting to lose sight of the shore for a very long time. How we cope, how we process this time in our lives, and the choices we make, and the way we are being in the world will inform what the world will look like, right? It is done unto you as you believe. How we process this time in our lives, how the choices that we make will inform what the world will look like, sound like, smell like, and taste like moving forward.
Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Oh, let go of the shore, float into the mystery. You have all you need, it's all inside of you. Just close your eyes and breathe and know that you are safe. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Oh, let go of the shore. Float into the mystery. No need to make a plan. Your heart will be your compass. Lift your sails in faith and trust when you'll arrive. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Oh, let go of the shore. Float into the mystery. Float into the mystery.
Thank you, Cindy. Beautiful. We now step into our third conversation around this Easter weekend. Jean Houston says, for those who are not mystics, or deeply believing Christians, the story of the resurrection nevertheless holds a potency and a sense of miracle that need not be lost in the arguments about whether it actually happened. What is true about the story for believers and non-believers alike is that the resurrection aspect of the Easter story represents an awakening. It represents a transformation. It represents a transition, a stepping into something new for each of us and our lives. What is true about the story for believers and non-believers alike is that each of us has within us, as Cindy just sang about, each of us has within us the capacity to bring about many different resurrections over the course of our lifetime. One metaphysical meaning of resurrection is the restoring of our mind and body to their original state, the way we arrived on the planet. Our consciousness and our awareness is to be brought back to the source, brought back to God. We are returning to our divine inheritance. We are to remember who and whose we are, divine emanations of the One. We have been thinking of ourselves, probably for a very long time now, as something other than spirit. And as we learn to accept the undoing of the dream of separation, we remember that we are eternal spirits. That undoing of the dream of separation. Of Course in Miracles says that that's the only thing that needs to be healed, is our dream of separation, separation from the divine, separation from life, separation from each other. The resurrection is not about just one man, Jesus, but about the Christ consciousness that is within each and every single one of us. A resurrection in this sense is an opportunity to really stand firmly grounded in our oneness. Transformation, then, is one of the promises of the resurrection story. Now, this could be about making a transition from birth into human life, or perhaps from life to laying down the physical body and moving on to whatever it is that comes next. But it could also be simply about one aspect of ourselves that is dying to make room for the new. something that's dying, some aspect of ourselves, something, some way of being, some thought, some belief that no longer serves us is dying to make room for something else. And the truth is that the universe abhors a void, and it will fill that, and fill it in a way that is always for our highest and best. The life of a cat that the caterpillar knew as a caterpillar before it became a butterfly is so different from the life that it will know as a butterfly. And this could be the same for each and every single one of us. But before it got into that cocoon, it had absolutely no idea what that was going to be what that was going to look like or feel like. But it did it anyway, just like Jesus did. The transition might be scary and it might be painful, but the promise is that the ultimate experience will be worthwhile. It will be for our highest and best. I know that you all love the practical side of life, so this morning I share a few ideas about stepping into our own resurrection. I've already spoken about the first necessity, that of fully stepping into our awareness of who we are as divine emanations of God. Every time we accept our identity as a child of God, we are embodying the resurrection principle. The second is to fully step into our faith. The resurrection is a great reminder for all of us, a reminder that for there to be spiritual growth, we have to have faith. And it doesn't mean that we don't get afraid. Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane was afraid. But we're invited to step out in faith. Not faith in something outside of ourselves, but faith in the presence of God that is within us. Faith in the creative power of the law. And faith in a universe that is always for us and never against us. The tombs that we create for ourselves can represent the darkness that we often find ourselves within. The tombs can include unforgiven resentment, or being influenced by what people say or think about us, having low self-esteem, worrying about the past and the future, stories that no longer serve us, old ways of being that do not express who we really are, to name just a few of those tombs that we can find ourselves within. Sometimes we don't even know that we're in them until the light shines upon them. Resurrection is about rolling that stone away and letting the light of truth in. And in that presence, right, the darkness dissolves. This time of Easter is about releasing fear and doubt and resentments and worry and old beliefs and outdated patterns, and affirming that the resurrecting power of life is right here, right now, and available to each and every single one of us. It's affirming that our life is full of new possibilities and that those possibilities are unfolding right now. It's the divinity within us, the Christ consciousness within us, that calls us out of our tombs, that little voice that's nudging us towards something new, calling us to resurrect ourselves out of our limited ideas and into a greater and greater story, a greater and greater expression of the Christ consciousness that we are, that individualized expression of the Christ consciousness that we are. Our faith is the realization that the spirit within us is so much greater than any of our circumstances, any of our stories, any of our tombs. Faith enables us to live with confidence, amidst all of the doubt and the paradox and the chaos and the confusion the sadness, the grief, whatever it is. And the third is that we have to actually step into that new life, into our spiritual magnificence. The invitation is to move beyond the littleness that we so often find ourselves within. Our founder Ernest Holmes says, "It is our privilege to not just be born again, but to be born again and again and again into a new realization that yesterday's awareness is not good enough for today, because today is new and there is something to behold." Underlying the resurrection is the promise that if we can awaken, if we can receive, and if we can embody all that the master teacher taught us through his example, then our lives will never, ever be the same. Now, it's not lost on me that we celebrate the resurrection during the spring, the time of renewal, the time of the year when everything is new, everything is becoming, where there is rebirth and newness everywhere we look. Our work is to make ourselves as open as possible to the renewing energy that is everywhere around us. Make ourselves available to that. We are one with nature, one with life itself, and we can align ourselves and make ourselves available to that energy. A resurrection can be exactly like a butterfly. First, we have this old thought, or this old belief, or this old wound. That's a caterpillar. And once we've had enough of that old way, we resolve, commit to becoming something different. Something inside of us says that this is it. No more. I'm done. I'm sure everyone has felt that at a time or two in their life. This is it. I'm done with this. I don't need this thought. I don't need this belief. I don't need this way of being anymore. And so in that moment, then we begin to find a way to wrap ourselves up in a new idea. We find a spiritual community of like-minded people. Or we read transformational books, or we wrap ourselves in the presence that changes everything. We wrap ourselves in love. We wrap ourselves in peace. We wrap ourselves in joy. We wrap ourselves in the presence of the divine. The Christmas. And we allow ourselves the time for that presence to work its magic. And finally, as the old thoughts and beliefs and ways of being dissolved, something new shows up in its place. Something beautiful, something whole. We emerge as the butterfly, as this new being. Everything that we have gone through, everything that we have allowed to dissolve within us has made us stronger. When we're in the middle of it, it doesn't always feel that way. But all right, hindsight is 20/20, and as we look back on it, we can see that everything that we have gone through has brought us to this day. Everything has made us stronger. Leaning into the crucifixions, the time in between, and the resurrection, we rise higher than we have ever risen before.
When my hands were empty, when my hope was is gone. Couldn't help but wonder, what had I done wrong? Though my heart was broken, there was no need to despair, 'cause a vessel must be open to put something better there. Into my empty hands gently you poured new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be. Now I understand. You needed my empty hands. So forgive me when I doubt it. I admit I sometimes do. Or consider giving up, 'cause I cannot see the truth. I know I'll never go without it. If I only look at you, you're a deep and abiding love. Into my empty hands gently you poured new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be, and I cannot help but cry to think of the gifts you've given me. Now I understand. You needed my empty hands. Oh yes, thank you for my empty hands.
So it is time, right? It's time to empty our hands. It's time to let go of the past, to cross out, to eliminate, to crucify anything that is no longer needed for our transformation, no longer needed for our continued unfoldment, no longer needed for our resurrection. It's time. Time to stop playing small. Time to step into our highest and best. Time to use the spiritual principles and practices to create our sweetest life. So in this moment, I'd like you to grab the clipboard that you've been given. There's a piece of paper on it and a pen on it. To make yourself comfortable in your seat, feet flat on the floor, and close your eyes if you are comfortable doing that, and to turn within, to take a nice deep collective breath, and to allow our attention and intention to flow to the center of our being on that in-breath. To let any resistance that we might have in this moment to flow out of us on the out. The invitation is to reverently listen for and to your inner wisdom. Take another deep breath. And ask yourself, what is resisting the flow of good in and through my life? What is resisting the flow of good in and through my life? What ideas, old patterns, resentments, unforgiveness, or beliefs am I harboring that are preventing me from moving ahead? What ideas, old patterns, resentments, unforgiveness, or beliefs am I harboring that are preventing me from moving ahead? What do I need to let go of to make room for the new? What do I need to let go of to make room for the new? Take another deep breath. And now ask yourself, what is it within me that is alive, awake, aware, and ready to come forward? What is it within me that is alive, awake, aware, and ready to come forward? What is longing to be expressed in my life? What is longing to be expressed in my life? Is there a newness within me wanting to be birthed? Is there a newness within me that is wanting to be birthed? When you are ready, please bring your attention into your bodies. Open your eyes and take out the card that you've been given if you haven't already done so. And begin writing. Document what you need to let go of and what new you are you willing to let into your life. What do you need to let go of? And what new you are you willing to let into your life? But always take extra time later to write down any other thoughts that you have. But in this moment, I invite you to turn within one more time as I speak a word of prayer for each of us. Truly recognizing with my eyes closed that power and presence that is within me, that creative energy that has created everything that there is. It has created all of the beauty that Carol talked about earlier, all of the beauty that we all saw on our way here, or perhaps saw out of our windows this morning as we were awaking and starting our day. All of the abundance, all of the perfection. I know that I was created by this power and presence in its image and likeness. So that what I know is that no matter where I am, no matter what situation I am involved in, no matter what tomb feels like it has wrapped itself around me in this moment, that right where I am, God is in its fullness and in its wholeness, that I have the opportunity, the ability to lean into that power and presence, to use it to create something different. And so I claim ease and grace for each of us around opening our hands, around letting go of that which may be getting in the way of that new taking place, of that new coming into being, of that new expressing itself in our lives, either individually or collectively. I know that when we let go of that which is no longer serving us, of old patterns, old beliefs, old ways of being, that we create a space within us for something new, for something greater. And that we are not alone in doing this. We co-create with the divine that has perhaps been nudging us toward something new all of this time. And so I claim for us that this fear, this doubt, this worry that we have about the unknown lessens for us. Becomes something that we can see. Yes, I see you, and I'm moving forward on this. Yes, I see you, and I'm doing it anyway. Because, my God, that power and presence within me is stronger than anything that could be out there. And so I have faith in that. I trust in that. And I allow myself to align with it. I allow myself to welcome it into my life without restriction. To allow that flow to flow through me. To let go of the shore. And allow the water to take me. Allow the flow to take me. Allow the divine to take me to my highest and best. I'm so grateful to know this truth and to speak these words. So grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes. That my words are clothed in form, even as they are spoken. So I speak them and I release them into that law. And I invite each of us to anchor this prayer for ourselves, for each other, for our community, and for the world, simply by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Thank you all so very much. Now please let's welcome Carol Cross back.
All right. So we're in a space of a brand new world. And don't it feel good? So we are going to go straight into our affirmations. So that means everybody rise up, say it loud, say it proud, because it's the energy you put into it, not just the words. It'll be a call and response. So I will go first and then you will go second. All right. Today, I declare my intention to enrich my soil of possibilities, nurturing a fertile ground for my dreams to grow. In order to do that, I do the inner work to discover how my past can nourish my growth. I affirm that all my past experiences, both positive and challenges, can serve as valuable nutrients that enrich my life. My commitment to visioning beyond the horizon encourages me to imagine the limitless possibilities that extend beyond my current view. As I do so, I dream bigger and look further than I ever have before. In order to do so, I do the inner work to understand Spirit's highest vision for my life. As I do so, I am reminded that I am a co creator with the divine, endowed with the ability to shape my reality and manifest a life I love to live. Embracing this truth, I am empowered to step boldly into the future, knowing that I am supported by a power and presence that is greater than I am and that all is well. And so it is. All right, so you may sit down and close your eyes for a brief benediction for today's service. So I breathe in this stuff of life, and I breathe out the stuff that gives life to the trees. And this is one way I know that I manifest a life where I am connected with all that is. That doesn't mean with every one person, every human on the planet, regardless of their faith or their political party or their geographic location. That's true. I am one with all of those people. But I'm also one with the tulip bulb that spent all those months underground and now is broken through that ground and becoming those beautiful flowers. I am one with all the seeds of all the plants that again have gone through months of darkness and now are bursting forth. That is me, and that is you, and that is all of us. And I am one with the
baby bluebird that has broken out of its shell and has taken its first flight to come visit my bird feeder. I am that baby bird, as are we all. So if the tulips and the birds can do it, I know I can too. I know we all can do this. That we can embrace the glorious possibilities of becoming what is the next phase in this beautiful experience we call life. So knowing that today's service is not just a good feeling, but it's an inspiration, it's a lesson, it's a guidepost to creating the world that we want to live, that we love to live, to creating our collective goal of a world that works for everyone and everything. And I know this brings us further along the path. So I ask you to join me in turning this over to the realm of spirit, which makes our intentions come to pass. And affirm that with our words, and so it is. All right. Thank you, everybody. Happy Easter.
Thank you all so very much for being here this morning or for inviting us into your homes. I especially thank Carol and Cindy and Heather and anyone else that had anything to do with bringing this forward today. Sean, for his always entertaining announcements. Have a really magnificent day today, whatever it is that you are doing to celebrate Easter, and a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday. Love you all.